Hello everyone, my name is Leskinen and this is another episode of Steins Gate Zero. It is episode 18 and you know what to do. As always, to see my reaction, just go down into my descriptions, follow the links, replace the circumflex dot parts with real dots and enjoy. Once you've done, feel free to come back here and hear my thoughts about this episode. So, see you soon. For those that came back, welcome back. Okay, what to say? This episode was great. It was a culmination. We finally got some answers. We got so much information. As I said, I really enjoyed this episode. So let's see. In the beginning, we had the intro with text, and I am still not sure if I have ever read this text before. It might be, but then I completely forgot it. However, what I like about it, there is this, the theme of the text, not analyzing too much in there. It's about feelings and about, realism, the world, science, and how these interacts with each other, against each other. I like this because, at least for me, it feels like that. That is what a lot of this series is about. We have deep scientific theories and thinkings, the laws of the universe in the end, traveling through time and everything. But all of that is put into the concepts and the ideas of emotions. There's a lot of emotion in this series. It consequently always moves around love for each other and for specific persons. So that's why I like that they have this in the intro as well. It's fitting. So Ocarina was moving up the stairs there with an injured leg. I seriously am not sure why his leg is injured. Possibly I forgot something. I'm very sorry if I did. But I really am not aware where his leg got injured. However, the big reveal is there. So it's Professor Leskinen coming out of the shadows in many ways. In this moment, he steps out of the shadow physically and metaphorically, revealing himself as the big, let's say, villain, which we were searching for. The one that is working against them, the one that is behind the attacks. So it is him, and it makes sense. I ask myself if I could have realized it in those visions of the future, because we have seen a doctor there, a doctor / professor, and I guess it was him, but I did not recognize him there. So maybe there were hints, but he was a very generic character. He still is, he has no very clear unique facial things or bodily stuff that I could put a finger on. I don't know, like a scar or wearing a specific kind of glasses or stuff like that I would say, wait a second, that is the same person as. So well done. I did not guess him to be the main enemy. He was on the list. Those of you who've seen my discussions in the past know that he was on the list, but he was not very high up, mainly because I was more generally thinking about the woman that was attacking all the time, and kind of forgetting there that there might be like another player in the background. So it is him. Good to know. I misinterpreted what I've seen about the killed, or at least majorly injured woman in the motorcycle suit in the last episode. So my idea was Kagari was taken out, because it felt to me like the person sitting there or being injured or possibly dead had red hair flowing from her bodysuit, but maybe I was wrong. So it was the other way around. I still had those options in, but it very much seemed to me like it wasn't Kagari, because the suit was better fitting, her hair was not flowing out. So I think they did it on purpose to kind of trick, as example, me. and it worked. So I did not see it would be her, but I discussed last time if it would be her, she possibly would go bonkers, and that she did. So when Kagari, because it is her, realizes that her mommy got shot, she completely went wild. She kind of broke her programming there, I guess. And she took out all of the enemy soldiers. So that shows how incredibly trained as a combat specialist she is. And when being attacked, and that's something I wrote down because I think it might be important even more in the future now. The soldiers said a name, Race. So I guess the person originally in the suit is a female named Race. I am not sure if that is the other professor, the female one we have met. I think not, but I checked my notes when it comes to names, and I forgot to write down her name, sadly enough. Although I really thought I had it. Well, if one of you would like to write down what the name of this female professor is, and if it is Race, that would be very nice. In case it is her, okay, we know, in case of a time travel again, that she's someone to look out for. If it is someone else, I will have to keep an open eye where the name Race is being dropped again in the future. Why do I say that? I'm pretty sure we will travel back in time. Question is, who will do it now? I still hope that the time machine did not get completely destroyed. They're just stranded back in time. Oh yeah, the father and God comment from Amadeus, very nice. So there were hints. They even show them to us. It makes sense that Amadeus, being created by Professor Leskinen, talks about him as father and God, very fittingly. I think it's interesting seeing that it was Professor Leskinen who broke down Amadeus and ripped the knowledge from it, being the creator, the father and the God, that still Amadeus was sending the message, was posting it in the Ed channel. Because there we are again at this point of maybe there is emotion being the trigger, being aware, Amadeus being aware that it was misused, kind of betrayed by its own father. And on the other hand, maybe that there are some kind of feelings towards Ocarina and the others. So it's an interesting concept. I'm not sure if they will point out more about that. We have the professor working for Stratfor. Seeing how he acts later on, I really have to question whether he is working for them or using them. I can only guess what his position in this shadow CIA is. Maybe even it might very well be that even he founded it. I mean, he had 10 years of time, so maybe. But if not, he clearly uses it for his own advantages. And once he would have had the time machine at his disposition, he wouldn't need them anymore. So, yeah, but he had enough time to convince them, so that's why he's so in the saddle that they are not going against him, even when he mentions what he's about to do. He knew already about time travel due to Kagari, which makes complete sense. And it is an interesting concept that he, in the future, brainwashed her and sent her into the past to himself. I had in one of the older discussions that I already said that Kagari has to have come with active brainwashing already from the future, because she shot at Suzuha. So the brainwashing had to have happened in the future already. And he proves that this is fact. He mentioned multiple, I mean, a lot of things there, which all very clearly shine light on his personality in the future and now influencing his past, becoming like that. That he really does not care at all about ethics. So his future self brainwashed children, girls and boys, to being used as spies against the enemies of his state, which I'm pretty sure in many, many societies is considered an evil thing. Using kids for war, brainwashing them, is simply not right. And he talked about it nonchalantly. He even like smirked and pushed it into the faces of Ocarina and the others, so being aware that they will not like that. And then by having this brainwashed army of kids, he was able to use Kagari as a messenger through time to himself. So he saw the potential, used it, and from the idea of his future self to his past self, took the idea over. And we see this, I don't care about ethics, and he does not really care about humanity at all, because he's aware that what he's about to do, he wants to do, might destroy time, might destroy the timeline itself. And his only reply to that, and that shows how not caring at all he is, well, if time is destroyed, if a timeline is destroyed, at least I want to be the one who's able to watch it. So, sure, that is scientific. It is, that's why I took this picture, by the way. Observing, that is what we live for. So, he wants to have the time machine to observe everything, everywhere, at every time he wants. And if time is destroyed while doing so, he will be the one observing it. So, he's in many ways completely focused on himself. And as Ocarina very clearly stated, he is the real mad scientist. He is simply mad. So, wow. Wow, wow, wow. Back to Kagari. So, she feels no pain. I kind of hope so. That was hard to watch, so she got shot multiple times. The fact that due to her brainwashing, she does not feel the pain makes her an excellent fighting machine. But in this episode is for me very important because that was not nice to see what happened to her. In the end, when she was laying down the first time, I mentioned it during the reaction. I really hoped that Mayushi would go to her, because to me it was clear that she was about to die. She was dying in this moment. The gunshots and everything, the blood loss, it looked a lot like that. And it was not a nice thing what she did. She killed a lot of people, and I can understand that she, if you see how she was brought up by Mayuri, possibly in the future, who is a good person at heart, I'm pretty sure that killing people is something she is aware of, is something that Mayuri would not agree with in more neither every circumstance. So she apologized and said she's sorry, because she was aware of that. And as I said, I can completely see how it happened. She was trained to do that, she was brainwashed to do it, and she completely lost everything when her mommy was shot, so completely see that. And then she broke down, and I was like, even if she would have done something really bad, apart from killing these people, something I don't know, like killing Suzu as example, which would be incredibly bad, sister and everything. In the moment when you die, I think no one should be alone if there is the option that someone is there who loves you. And holds your hand, listens to you, and gives you this comfort that you are not leaving without someone being around, and you're not forgotten. These things are important to many people. So I really hope that Mayuri would go there, and she did. And she even took Suzuha with her, which gave us a very short moment of good time, of kind of family reunion, bittersweet moment. even an apology. So that was a good moment. And then, well, it turned. Because the professor was back there. And he even brought 2 more guards. So even then he was prepared. He completely disregarded Kagari, like a tool. Oh, well, she came from the future, was well trained and brainwashed, but even she can be killed. Whatever, throws away his phone, which he used for the control. It is, again, as I said, in this episode, they so clearly showed that Professor Leskinen is, I think it is psychopathic. No empathy. So he is a what, I would think. I kind of hope that Kagari would make a last stand and kind of save the day, She did, and in the end she did save the day there, you can't deny that. But it was hard to see that, because I wanted to point it out even more about Professor Leskinen, that he shot her from on top of her. She was no danger to him at all. She was not able to stand up or anything. She was just touching his foot. And the tool he used, and that didn't work as he planned, he just destroyed it. He killed her, shooting from above into her neck and everything. I guess it's neck or the back of her body, whatever. Well, it just underlines what I said about him before. So that was harsh to see. They stopped him there. Suzuha did. So this moment of sisterly love, of rage, I can see again. Yeah, well, what to say about that? It was in many ways a harsh episode, a good one and a harsh one at the same moment. We got the information that Professor Leskinen kind of triggers the war, because he gave the information about the time machine to the USA. Without him, they would possibly not have had this information, so he knew it, and he, by having the knowledge about the future and everything, he tried to trigger the perfect time that there would be the attack and the war starts, so he can escape with the time machine. So he is cold-blooded and analytic and clearly for one goal, and kind of, I think he in many ways he put in every strange word, sorry, variable option. Let's say option. And I think in many ways he would have gotten away with the plan and it would have worked. But what he did underestimate, and that is fitting very much, is once again emotions. So Kagari went nuts and worked against him due to emotions. Defending her mother, or because she thought her mother was shot, like that. Suzuha was going over her limits because of what happened to her sister. Kagari stopped him in the middle because she was kind of out of his control already. And even the attack that Rintaro did on him, he was surprised by, because it was a pure emotional thing. It was not really logical in this moment. So it fits very much the idea that Professor Leskinen, although being clever and a scientist, he might be able to think what kind of emotions might happen and try to put those into his plans, but he's not completely able to foresee it, and he underestimated the effects of emotions. So that is something I like. It's a very interesting concept, and it fits in many ways in the series. I talked about it in the beginning of my discussion here about the intro. We have signs and we have emotions, and it's a very interesting concept to see here a character who seems to be completely out of emotions, except for, he seems to have some fun in doing what he does. Oh yeah, we had a very short moment from Daru, which I liked. It is a concept that I've seen in many pictures, in many movies, series, books, and so on. This sentence of, if you kill him, you will be the same as him. You put yourself on the same level. That is a. I like it that he makes this standpoint and he stops Suzuha when she attacks Professor Leskinen there. I agree with him in that regard, but it is something which I had in personal discussions with people, not about killing. It is a problem that there will always be people who say it would be better to kill someone who is truly evil, whatever that should mean, because it would be good for the world. You know, the idea of going back in time to kill Hitler, and by this making sure World War II is not happening. Apart from the problems by time travel, let's just say person in the present. It is the question, is it worth killing someone? When is killing right? You know, this question. What kind of who are we to decide? That's the big question in here. Well, it's a complicated thing. I will skip that. That's a discussion for its very own. The two girls are leaving. Operation Arclight starts. I like that. We had a short glimpse of the future in the last episode. There was this message from Daru, who stated Operation Arclight is the thing they have to do now. I'm kind of surprised that Mayuri knows this word. I don't know why. We will see. And they jumped. They at least started to jump, and then the rocket hit. While the rocket was fired, I already said I kind of hope it is a close hit. Because that's something it feels like would be a typical thing to be next in this storyline. You know, they do the jump, but the time machine gets hit. It can only jump this one time. It's possibly majorly damaged. Maybe even the two girls are injured, something like that. It puts more pressure on the plot when they reach the time then. Maybe the hit even brings them to another time than they wanted to. Something like that I kind of foresee as an option. And I would like it because it puts the storyline on them. On Mayuri and Suzuha. Because if the time machine really is destroyed, and they are just gone, you know, it puts us again in the storyline with Ocarine, and him creating the time machine, or at least in D-mail option, something like that, which is kind of a repeat from the original Steins Gate, with a bit more pressure. So I hope they have survived. Fittingly, the message from Mayuri reaches his phone after that. And it's a nice one, I like it. There was a trigger that I mentioned multiple episodes already. When Mayuri is injured or even dead, he will act, and we've seen that he will. But I like, but as I said, I hope Mayuri is here, and I like the sentence she puts there in her letter, in her message to him, in this mail, that to reach Steins Gate, they all have to work together. The fact that it is not only him, it's not only Ocarine, it is the whole lab, all of them. Each and everyone does something, supports him. He is never alone. Everyone does something to help him on his way, and in many ways when it comes to the idea of Steins Gate, this perfect timeline, that's what they have to do, work together, everyone. And she is lab member number 2, so I really like that she points that out. It's her responsibility, kind of. She has to do something as well. That's a really good one, and in the ending. And the "you will rescue me if something goes wrong" is like a little pinch in the heart there. Because yes, he will, we know that. They finished off after the outro with a short, the paper clip she put there. the wish that she made, which she talked about in the last or second last episode, that she wishes to meet her Hikoboshi. So kind of that is fulfilling now. Guessing she does the jump because her Hikoboshi is gone, because he is so Ocarina is so focused on his grief and having problems with his decision with the death of Marquise Kurizu. So to see her Hikoboshi, which is the mad scientist which she was in the past, and the living and laughing and loving version of him, she needs to go back in time before this happens. So she kind of made a wish and now fulfills it herself. I like that. That's a good idea. A lot of talk this time. I hope you can forgive me. It was a lot in this episode. It was, as I said, a really, really well done and designed episode. I like it. And I look forward to the next one. Definitely do. I kind of hope we start in the past with the just appearing time machine, possibly breaking apart. And yeah, let's see what else will go on there, because we now know, even if they make it to the past, there still is someone watching them, which is this professor over here. And he's an enemy you have to be aware of and watch closely. So, that's it from me this time. As always, feel free to comment, like, and subscribe. My name is Relax and Panic. Goodbye and out.